What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, Angel Reese has been very busy since the end of the WNBA season. She's joined the cast of the Netflix series, The Hunting Wives. She's been everywhere promoting Reebok. She's even hit the runway for the Victoria's Secret fashion show. She's still running her podcast. And she just spent several days in the land down under in Australia touring.
Wait, WHY is Unrivaled moving players in silence. No press conference, no explanation, no logic, just roster spots opening up, for no reason. And that's when people started connecting the dots. Because while fans were distracted by Angel Reese walking runways, filming Netflix scenes, and touring Australia, teams were quietly clearing space. A post player gone. No return, a cryptic emoji from inside Team Rose, and suddenly, a roster hole that makes zero basketball sense. Unless one name is coming back, Angel Reese, not rumors, not vibes. Patterns. Angel Reese doesn't sign back like a normal player. Leagues prepare for her. Schedules adjust. Trades happen first. Announcements come later. And Unrivaled right now. Ratings, slipping, buzz fading, momentum slowing. Then boom, mystery trade. Boom, perfect timing. Boom, Angel Reese suddenly free, rested, and ready. This doesn't feel accidental, it feels planned, because when a league starts moving pieces before saying a word, it usually means something big is already decided, and if Angel Reese really is coming back, this won't just boost ratings, it will change the entire power structure of Unrivaled overnight. Angel Reese doesn't disappear, and that's the part people keep missing while staring at box scores and transaction wires. Since the WNBA season ended, Angel hasn't slowed down for a second. She's accelerated in a different lane. Netflix cameras followed her. Reebok built campaigns around her. Australia rolled out the red carpet. Every move screamed one thing loud and clear. Angel Reese isn't chasing basketball relevance anymore. Basketball is chasing her. That matters. Because Unrivaled was never just another league to Angel. It was the place where she proved she could dominate outside the WNBA structure. Last season with Team Rose wasn't a cameo, it was a statement. Defensive Player of the Year. Rebounds on command. Physical presence that bent games in her direction. She didn't just play well, she set the tone. And when she went down with injury before the championship game, the absence said more than any highlight reel. Team Rose felt it, the league felt it. Emotionally, that season mattered. Angel built real relationships there, coaches she trusted, teammates who embraced her edge instead of trying to sand it down. Unrivaled gave her space to be intense, loud, dominant without apology. That's rare in women's basketball, where stars are often asked to shrink for the sake of fit. Angel never fit, she reshaped rooms. But injuries changed the rhythm. WNBA demands piled up, the body needed rest. And while critics framed her off-court rise as distraction, Angel treated it like leverage. Every brand deal, every appearance, every sold-out appearance added pressure not on her, but on leagues that benefit from her presence. She didn't need to rush back. Time was on her side. That's where the emotional tension lives now. Angel Reese sits at the intersection of power and patience. She knows what she brings. She knows what happens to ratings when she's on a roster and what happens when she's not. Unrivaled, meanwhile, tasted that bump once already. They know the difference between attention and electricity. And Angel is electricity, so when fans see trades that don't make sense, vacancies that linger, emojis that hint at secrets, it hits differently. Because this isn't a player begging for a spot. This is a league remembering who helped put them on the map. Angel's history with Team Rose isn't nostalgia, it's unfinished business. And here's the part that tightens the chest. Angel hasn't said no. She hasn't denied anything. No shutdown tweet. No, not happening. Just silence. Strategic silence. The kind that lets everyone else talk themselves into the truth before the announcement ever drops. Because when Angel Reese is involved, the emotional math is simple. She doesn't come back to prove she belongs. She comes back to take control. And right now, it feels like Unrivaled is quietly making sure the door is wide open before she decides to walk through it. Here's where everything stops being coincidence and starts feeling dangerous. Because Unrivaled didn't just adjust rosters. They broke their own rhythm. In-season trades. No build-up, no clarity, no traditional GM structure to explain it. And yet players were moved like chess pieces while one team was left holding nothing but a vacancy. No return asset, no replacement, just a hole where a post player used to be. That's not basketball logic, that's preparation. The conflict is simple but explosive. Unrivaled needs relevance. And Angel Reese represents leverage. Ratings in Season 2 haven't matched the first wave. The buzz cooled, the casual fans drifted. And leagues don't panic publicly, they panic quietly. They move pieces. They clear space. They wait, and then came the first shocking twist. Team Rosangel Reese's old team was the one left exposed. A post player gone, no explanation. And within minutes, a teammate drops an emoji that doesn't celebrate a win. Doesn't mourn a loss, but teases knowledge. The kind of emoji that says, "Don't ask me, just watch." That moment flipped the narrative. Because now this isn't about whether Angel wants to come back. It's about whether Unrivaled already expects her to. And that's a massive power shift. Leagues don't open roster spots on hope. They do it on conversations, on timing, on soft agreements that haven't gone public yet. Behind the scenes, this creates tension that no one wants to acknowledge. What happens to the player who lost her spot? What happens to chemistry when someone returns midstream with star gravity? Who signed up for one role and suddenly finds herself pushed to the edge because Angel Reese changes the hierarchy the moment she steps on the floor? That's the real conflict. Not Angel versus the league, but Angel versus the structure of fairness. Because when a star this big re-enters, balance gets disrupted, and everyone knows it. Unrivaled is built on the idea of player empowerment, but empowerment gets complicated when one player's presence bends the entire ecosystem. Angel Reese isn't just another body. She's a ratings event, a headline, a lightning rod, and the league knows that once she's back, nothing else will be talked about. That's why this twist matters so much. The silence isn't denial, it's coordination. The schedule gap lines up perfectly. Team play pauses, one-on-one tournaments by time. Time for paperwork, time for announcements, time for everything to be in place before the spotlight hits. If Angel Reese walks back into Unrivaled, it won't be spontaneous. It will be orchestrated, and the moment that announcement drops, the question won't be why did she come back? It'll be, who paid the price before she did? That's when the temperature really starts to rise, because once the roster hole was exposed, the whispers turned into pressure. Not public pressure, internal pressure. The kind that builds when players realize decisions are being made above them. Without warning, without explanation, and without apology. Unrivaled didn't clarify the trade. They didn't deny anything either. And in sports, that kind of silence is never neutral. It tells veterans to read between the lines. It tells fringe players to check their phones more often. It tells agents to start asking quiet questions. Because when a league stops explaining itself, it usually means the outcome is already mapped. Here's the second major twist. Angel Reese doesn't need Unrivaled, but Unrivaled may need Angel Reese right now. That power imbalance changes everything. The league's early success was built on novelty and star power, but novelty fades. Star power has to be sustained. And Angel is one of the few players who can instantly reset the conversation. Cameras follow her. Engagement spikes around her. Love her or hate her, people tune in. That's not opinion, it's data. And data is ruthless as this reality settles in. Tension spreads across the locker rooms. Players start doing the math. If Angel comes back midstream, roles change overnight. Touches disappear. Minutes shrink. Defensive schemes shift to accommodate her presence. Someone who thought they were safe suddenly isn't. Someone who signed up to lead might end up deferring. Empowerment turns into competition, and competition turns into anxiety. That's the escalation no one wants to say out loud, because Unrivaled sold itself as player first, transparent, collaborative. But star gravity tests those ideals. When one name outweighs the rest, principles get flexible, and flexibility breeds resentment if it isn't managed carefully. The second twist cuts even deeper. Angel's return wouldn't just boost ratings, it would reframe the season. Storylines pivot, media coverage narrows. The league's identity shifts back toward one central figure. And that's a risk Unrivaled has to be willing to take. Because once you open the door for Angel Reese, you don't control how wide it swings. Meanwhile, Angel remains silent. No confirmation. No denial. No hint beyond proximity. That silence is pressure in itself. It forces the league to sit with its choices. Forces fans to speculate. Forces players to prepare for an outcome they weren't briefed on. And here's the most unsettling part. This escalation feels intentional. Like both sides understand the stakes and are daring the other to blink first. Unrivaled clears space. Angel waits. The longer the gap lasts, the louder the message becomes. If this were just a rumor, someone would shut it down. If this were just a rumor, someone would shut it down. They haven't. Which means the real twist may not be whether Angel Reese comes back, but whether the league is already reorganizing itself as if she will. And when that realization fully sinks in, the fallout won't be subtle. Once the idea took hold, there was no containing it. Social media didn't wait for confirmation, it never does. The moment fans realized Unrivaled had created a silent vacancy, timelines ignited, clips from last season resurfaced. Angel Reese rebounds on loop, defensive stops, post-game celebrations. People weren't asking if she'd fit back in, they were asking why the league was acting like she never left. The emotional split was instant. One side celebrated, ratings saved. This is what the league needs. Angel makes everything louder. They saw her potential return as revival, as energy, as proof that Unrivaled understood how modern sports actually work. Attention equals survival. The other side felt uneasy, angry, even, because for players grinding through the season, the message felt brutal. No matter how hard you work, one name can still rewrite the hierarchy overnight. Fans started asking uncomfortable questions. Who lost their spot? Who got moved without warning? Who was told one thing only to learn another through emojis and silence? And the league still said nothing. That silence poured fuel on the fire. Analysts speculated openly. Some praised the strategy. Others warned it was dangerous. Player empowerment doesn't mean star immunity. One said, you can't sell fairness and then operate in shadows. The narrative fractured, and Unrivaled image once clean, once collaborative suddenly felt political. Angel Reese became the center of gravity without saying a word. Every brand post she shared was dissected. Every workout clip became evidence. Every absence from other commitments was read as confirmation. Fans read tea leaves like gospel, and through it all, Angel's silence felt intentional, almost surgical. She wasn't reacting, she was letting the world move around her. Emotionally, that's where the real fallout lived. Players who admired her felt conflicted. Players who feared being displaced felt exposed. Coaches were forced into hypotheticals they couldn't answer publicly. Agents started asking whether mid-season returns were now precedent. Even casual fans felt the shift. The league stopped being just about games, it became about power. About who bends systems and who gets bent by them. And Angel Reese, whether she wanted to or not, symbolized that tension perfectly. Then came the most telling reaction of all. Anticipation, not joy, not outrage, suspense. Because everyone understood one thing: if this announcement drops, it won't just be a signing, it will be a statement about who really drives value in women's basketball. And statements like that leave marks that the league could survive backlash. It could survive criticism. What it couldn't survive was looking unprepared for its own consequences. And as the noise grew louder, one final question hovered over everything. When Angel Reese steps back in, will Unrivaled still recognize itself? Because the emotional damage or payoff hasn't even peaked yet. And just when everyone thought the story was about Angel Reese choosing Unrivaled, the twist flipped the entire script. Because the real shock isn't that Angel might come back. It's that Unrivaled may have already moved on without waiting for her answer. Behind the scenes, the league's leadership is facing a brutal truth. Building around a single gravitational star is powerful but dangerous. If Angel returns, ratings spike instantly. But if she doesn't, every quiet move, every unexplained trade, every emoji turns into proof of miscalculation. Suddenly, the league looks reactive instead of revolutionary. That's the cliff they're standing on. Sources start whispering that the roster gymnastics weren't a promise, they were a gamble, a hedge. Clear space, in case Angel says yes. But don't announce anything until the ink is real. Because if she says no, Unrivaled can pivot and pretend the moves were strategic all along. That's where the tension explodes. Angel Reese now holds something far bigger than a roster spot. She holds narrative control. If she returns, she confirms that Unrivaled still revolves around star power. If she doesn't, she exposes how much the league depends on it. Either way, someone loses leverage, and Angel knows it. That's why the silence has stretched this long. No leaks from her camp. No can't wait to be back. No denial either, just carefully curated appearances, training clips that reveal nothing, and timing that keeps everyone guessing. It's the kind of silence that forces institutions to show their hand first. Then comes the most chilling possibility of all. What if Angel Reese doesn't come back immediately? What if she waits, lets the season unfold, lets Unrivaled feel the absence, and only then decides whether her return is worth more later than it is now? That scenario terrifies leagues. Because delayed star power doesn't just spike ratings, it rewrites bargaining power. It changes how future seasons are structured. how contracts are pitched, how players negotiate their value beyond the court. And suddenly, this isn't about Team Rose. It's not even about Unrivaled. It's about whether women's basketball is entering an era where the biggest stars no longer chase leagues chase them. If Angel Reese walks back in next week, it's a victory lap. If she doesn't, it's a warning shot. Either way, the next move doesn't belong to the league anymore, it belongs to Angel. And when she finally decides to speak or step onto that floor, the fallout won't be quiet, it will be seismic. Now it's on you, because this moment isn't just gossip. It's a turning point for women's basketball. Angel Reese coming back to Unrivaled wouldn't just boost ratings, it would redefine who really holds power in this new era. Players, not leagues. Stars, not systems. And whether you love Angel, hate the drama, or just want the truth, your voice matters in how this story gets told next. So I want to know exactly what you think. Is Angel Reese really coming back to Unrivaled, or is this the smartest silence play we've seen yet? Did the league jump the gun clearing space for her? And if she doesn't return, what does that say about Unrivaled's future? Drop your take in the comments. No fence sitting. Pick a side. If you want real-time breakdowns, behind-the-scenes, power moves, and WNBA stories before they explode everywhere else, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because trust me, this story isn't over. And the next update could drop any minute.